What's up everyone? In this video we're going to be covering a single topic, and that is why women are attracted to funny men. You hear this all the time. Each time you ask a girl what do they look for in a guy, one of the top things that they will say is, I like a funny guy. He has to be funny. He has to make me laugh. And on and on and on. Now, I'm all about putting the science back into any type of advice, because lately, or maybe it's always been this way, everyone loves to give advice, but there's no science or scientific backing behind what they have to say. And this is rather unfortunate, and what ends up happening is at best it's a pseudoscience. You know, they'll test some things out, throw it against the wall with no rigorous scientific process where controls are put into place so that different variables are accounted for and blah blah blah. The point is, no one really puts the science into things to really back up what they have to say. And that's what I want to do today. I want to share with you some of the science behind why women are attracted to humor and specifically funny guys. Now, first off, it isn't some type of conspiracy, and it isn't something where, you know, girls are consciously thinking about this. This isn't something where all the girls in the world just, you know, happen to have the same criteria because they consciously came up with the same choice by chance, or because they got together in some board meeting of 7+ billion females and all decided on humor as one of the top traits. No, instead it's a genetic unconscious response programmed into their genes. That's right, it's baked into their DNA. Now, why exactly is this the case? Well, in simple terms, it's because it helps her and her future children survive and reproduce. It always comes back to this, but it's deeper than that. It's actually very fascinating and a bit more awesome than that, just survival and reproduction. It's also a huge signal for her, on top of many other possible things she could consider as attractive, because it is hard to fake. Now, this is also a key thing when it comes to evolutionary biology and attraction, because signals that are hard to fake, whether it's for the human species Homo sapien or any other species out there, are really important, because those are the ones that they can rely upon. You see, not just with humans, but many other species out there, the other species, well, both genders kind of do this, they love to lie and pretend and fake that they're more attractive than they actually are. If you just look at humans, obviously they do this in many ways. Women get plastic surgery and get fake breasts. Men love to lie because you can say anything you want, even if it's not true, and you know, there's a chance that people will believe you. However, on a genetic level, humor is very hard to fake. It is one of those signals that are very hard to trick someone with. And that's because you're either funny or you're not. There's no in between. You can't fake a joke. You're going to make her laugh or you're not going to make her laugh. And therefore, humor is a very key, honest indicator. So exactly what does humor actually signal for? What exactly does it do that makes it useful for survival and reproduction? Well, humor is an indication of essentially multiple forms of intelligence and mental health, which is really important, and mental agility. So first off, if you're not mentally healthy, you're delirious, you're mentally unstable, if you're psychotic, if you have any type of mental disorders, or any of that stuff that will obviously not be good for her future offspring, that is going to prevent you from being able to tell jokes. On top of that, there's mental agility. You know, humor often requires some wit and intelligence and quick thinking on your feet. And then the third thing, of course, is the different forms of intelligence. You know, there's multiple forms of intelligence, not just mathematic and verbal reasoning, which is the standard form of intelligence many people think of, but is one facet of intelligence, and definitely not the most important, and probably one of the least important forms of intelligence when it comes to attraction on a scientific basis. And it's honestly because mathematical and verbal reasoning, while they were kind of important, they weren't as important as all those other things that our prehistoric ancestors relied upon to survive and reproduce. So essentially, in simple terms, what they're looking for through humor, or your lack of humor, is your emotional intelligence, your social intelligence, which encompasses like understanding of culture and pop culture, so you can kind of sift that into your humor. Maybe it's like a political joke because of some recent political event. That's an example of, you know, social intelligence and cultural savviness to pull out a joke that makes sense. And then there's also a bit of emotional intelligence there too. You have to kind of empathize with that person, understand what type of humor they're into, and really figure out like what works, what doesn't, and where she's at with these jokes. So there's a bunch of things going on, and you know, there's numerous studies that kind of indicate how, you know, humor is correlated with this intelligence, intelligence, and how, you know, humor is really important with all these elements, and how it is a hard to fake signal, and all these things that you can find in Google Scholar. I'll leave some links in the description for citations, and of course there's also books that I recommend if you want to go deeper into this subject. There's really only one. It's called Become the Man Women Want by Dr. Philip Miller, and it goes into all the science and then the A to Z on all of these topics I've discussed and more. So essentially that's exactly why humor matters, and I think one of the big reasons this video is important is because it really explains it so that you can develop a sense of trust. You know, there's a lot of plenty of advice out there where you don't know if you can trust it, you don't know if they're BSing you, and you don't know if you're going to waste another year trying to improve something that doesn't actually truly help you with your goals of doing better with women. And that's why I really think that this book and you know, this type of scientific approach is really more important, useful, and timeless, because you can trust it, because there's rigorous science, decades of research done on this, not just some guy, you know, who happens to have lucked out on his own, and it's, you know, it's not even a good sample size. It's just this one guy, and he's just telling you what worked for him. That might not work for you. You want to look at those universal things that have worked for billions of humans, and one of those are humor. Now, one of the great things about humans versus other species is that humor is something that can be improved, assuming you have at least an average level of mental agility, mental health, and intelligence. Humor can be learned and improved by going to stand-up comedy classes, improv classes, really understanding humor and really displaying that. Again, you don't have to become a world-class comedian, but you can, you know, learn to make a few jokes at a date. So those are some really crucial things, I think, really important, very useful. Again, I will defer to the experts. If you want any more advice, check out that book in the description below if you're interested. There's also, if you go through my link, I will have a link to the Amazon page of the book. If you buy through that link at no extra cost to you, I will get a commission that way. You don't have to go through it, but if you do, I do get a commission at no extra cost to you. Other than that, hit the subscribe button for more videos like this, and celebrate the whole fact that you are human, because you have the ability to improve on these things, whereas with many other species you're kind of screwed. Like from birth you're just like, I'm an elephant, these are my genes, this is how long my trunk is, I don't know how and then that elephant is kind of screwed in the mating game. Humans are a very unique species in the sense that a lot of the traits that attract or can become are attractive to women can be improved, whether it is your earning potential, your humor, willpower, all these different things, which makes it so incredible because it gives me and maybe you hope at a better future. And it gives you a leg up on a lot of other people who have convinced themselves that they can't do anything. So those are some huge things, and really try and work on it, because with other species, they suffer from very similar stuff. You have to remind yourself that we are still a species. We're still, mammals at the end of the day, and therefore a lot of the same laws that apply to other species when it comes to evolution, natural selection, and mating competition also apply to humans. And one of those huge things, of course, as I said, is honest signaling. Really dive down to what really matters from an honest signaling, hard to fake level, that really matter from a survival and reproduction standpoint. One of those is humor, another might be height, and another might be other stuff. I'm not going to get into that in this video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Hopefully this video helped. Peace.